everybody. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I am Jamie Kell Miller, and with me is...
Hello, I'm Julia Mikas.
And today we want to tell you about Saturn transits, how they feel and how to handle them. So Saturn is the archetype of authority, of adulthood, of maturity. Saturn is the wise elder within all of us, whether we are actually old or not. Saturn brings us discipline and structure, helps us to learn how to manage goals and to define and follow our ambitions. So if you are having a Saturn transit, it will be characterized by certain feelings and sensations and experiences. And Julia, here, I'd love you to jump in as I'm saying these things, and we'll kind of brainstorm them together.
Okay.
So to my mind, Saturn transits tend to feel heavy and serious. I feel like I've just gotta be a grown-up during a Saturn transit.
Yeah.
Do you think it's fair to say that a Saturn transit matures you, burnishes you in life?
Absolutely. And not only does a Saturn transit mature you, the whole cycle of Saturn is a maturation cycle. It's the planet that rules old age and time, because to the ancients, it was the last visible planet. So it represented the limitation of everything. It represented the end of reality. And, time is a limitation. And as we sort of grow older, we learn more and more of Saturn's rules. So yes, the positive manifestations of Saturn transits is that we grow up and we mature, and we become more responsible and hardworking too.
And those sensations, those transitory sensations that happen during a Saturn transit, they can happen to any part of you. You can experience that in your relationship life. You can experience it in your career. You can experience it relative to your mind, your communication and intelligence. You can experience it relative to the actions that you take and the decisions.
Yeah. And Saturn transits can also be times, because Saturn can represent blockages, times of testing, delays. Feeling stuck is another big one with Saturn transits. Like if you have a Saturn transit over, a career planet or ruler of your midheaven, which is a career point, you can feel like you're a bit stuck in your career. Or if you have it contacting Venus, you can feel a little stuck in your love life too. So that can be another way they feel.
Yeah, and that makes me want to mention a distinction between Saturn transits and Neptune transits, because both of them can have you feeling stuck. That might be a really good word to use, but they're different. And finding out which one it is can be useful, because if it's a Neptune transit, then what you're in is a sort of a holding pattern, which you can't expect forward progress during a Neptune transit. It's supposed to be handled through meditation and looking inward. Whereas a Saturn transit, you're supposed to push on. You're supposed to overcome the obstacles.
I love that. I've never quite put those thoughts together before, but I think that's really, really smart. And with a Neptune transit, let's say people have it going on in their career or their love life, you can kind of feel so confused and lost that you're just sort of treading water, and you don't have necessarily the confidence and the determination and the clarification to push in one direction. So whereas Saturn, the direction you got to push, but it's hard. And you got to just do it, buckle up and do it.
Yeah. And if you're a very intuitive personality to begin with, like you've got a lot of water in your chart and you like to feel your way around life, and you come up against a Saturn transit, it might present to you the kinds of obstacles that you would think, well, maybe I should just kind of wait for these to pass, because now isn't the right time for me to expect forward movement. But that's the wrong response. Now is actually the time when you should push on, when you should make a breakthrough. You should push through that wall. You should prove your mettle during a Saturn transit.
Yeah. And Saturn transits, they are also times of manifestation too. So they'll challenge us at the time, but a relationship that's gone through a Saturn transit and is in pretty good shape is a good signal that that's a good relationship. Or if your career goes through a Saturn transit, and even if it's a lot of work, but it ends up in pretty good shape, that's a good signal that you're on the right track. So Saturn can also tell us when a career isn't right for us, when a relationship needs to kind of move on so the next one can come in. It can be times of testing to show if you're not on the right track in a certain area of your life too.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that phrase, times of testing. And, sometimes the relationship doesn't pass the test.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And sometimes it does. And if it does, yeah, you're good to go because you've just come to a milestone and you've made it through.
Yeah.
So that should be good to go for at least another 7 years. And this is because Saturn's grand cycle is 28, 29 years long. And therefore it has these quarter phases. And this is the reason behind the famous 7-year itch. When something gets to be 7 years old, regardless of what it is, a relationship, a career, a contract, an agreement, a person. At 7-year intervals, we come to a time of testing and a major milestone. And if the thing, whatever it is, makes it through that, then it's going to be strong and good to go for the next 7 years. When it face another, midterm or final exam, or however you would like to put it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think we've already been saying a lot of the ways to handle a Saturn transit based on its actual nature. And when you understand its nature and that you're being tested and that you need to be on your mettle, you really need to put on your big kid pants. That lets you know how to respond to a Saturn transit so that you can get the best out of it. And if you're experiencing some kind of change in your career that is putting you under a lot of pressure to perform to a new and higher standard, then probably Saturn is afoot. And getting through that, flying your colors high is the way to go.
Yeah.
Want to throw any final thoughts in here before we finish?
I think that just the only thought that I have to say is that Saturn transits tend to be very common. We're usually always having a Saturn transit. There's sometimes a year or two can go by without a major hard Saturn transit. That can happen, but generally they're actually really, really common. So, this is a little bit of a very sort of like, I don't know if it's a little flippant to put it this way, but Saturn transits kind of show you where the pain in your neck is coming from that year. Where's the pain in your neck going to be? Is it going to be in the relationship sector? Is it going to be in the work sector? And I think just kind of understanding that work is just a big part of life. Long-term relationships require a lot of work. Successful careers require a lot of work. So work itself isn't negative. And if you do the work in Saturn transits, and it either shows you time to pivot or it gives you really good results. So they can be very positive, I think.
Yes, do the work and you will get the reward.
Yeah.
That's such a great note to end this video on. That's what it comes down to. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video about Saturn transits. And if you did, would you please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, and visit our website, pandoraastrology.com, where you will find a blog loaded with hundreds of articles that are really an education in astrology. And on our website, you can find us and get readings with us and take classes and a whole lot more besides. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.